My child, my beloved, stay with this moment a little longer, because what is being revealed now should not be rushed. There was a season when your spirit felt stretched beyond what you thought you could hold. But that stretching was not proof of weakness. It was the pressure of growth asking you to expand. Expansion often feels uncomfortable before it begins to feel like freedom. You were learning how to carry deeper awareness, greater compassion, and sharper discernment without losing yourself in the process. That kind of inner enlargement happens quietly, beyond applause, beyond explanation, and beyond the need for anyone else to understand it. My beloved, you may not realize how much strength you have already gained simply by continuing. Every day you rose despite uncertainty, your inner balance was being trained. Every time you held faith without visible evidence, something steady and unshakable was forming within you. You were not just surviving without direction. You were being stabilized, and stability always comes before fulfillment, because what is coming next requires a foundation strong enough to hold it. That foundation has been forming inside you all along. There were moments when you felt misunderstood, as if your intentions were unseen and your efforts were unnoticed. Yet even that pain was teaching you a powerful truth. The validation that rises from within matters more than the recognition that comes from others. You learned how to stand without applause. You learned how to move forward without approval. You learned how to remain sincere even when no one seemed to notice the purity of your heart. That kind of inner independence is rare, my beloved, and it will serve you deeply in the days ahead. Clarity often arrives slowly, like eyes adjusting after a long season of darkness. At first, everything looks uncertain, but little by little, the shapes become clearer, and the path begins to come into focus. You are in that adjustment phase now. Thoughts that once felt tangled are beginning to loosen, and decisions that once felt heavy are becoming easier to carry. This is not because every problem has disappeared, but because your perception has matured enough to face them with peace. My child, trust the quiet confidence growing inside you. It does not shout, demand attention, or try to prove itself. It simply knows, and that calm assurance will guide you far better than fear ever could. When you listen to it, you will notice how confusion loses power and hesitation softens. This is wisdom taking root, not excitement fading. My beloved, what lies ahead will not require you to become someone else. You will not need to perform, impress, or overextend. You will be met as you are, with authenticity recognized rather than questioned. That alignment brings ease, not pressure. When something belongs to you, it arrives without struggle. My child, remember that patience is not passive. It is active trust. It is choosing steadiness over panic, understanding over reaction, faith over assumption. You practiced patience even when answers delayed. Now, timing is beginning to cooperate with you. My beloved, soon you will look back and recognize this phase as the turning point where heaviness began to lift. Not because everything changed overnight, but because you changed how you carried things. That shift is powerful. It transforms challenges into lessons and waiting into preparation. My child, remain gentle with yourself as you move forward. Gentleness is strength guided by wisdom. You do not need to harden to survive. You need to stay aware to thrive. And that awareness is already alive within you, steady and reliable. My child, my beloved, remain present with this unfolding reassurance because something important is settling into place beneath your awareness. You have carried questions that never demanded loud answers, only truthful ones. Those answers are forming now, not through sudden events, but through steady inner alignment. You are beginning to sense direction without force, confidence without noise, reassurance without dependency. This kind of knowing arrives when the soul finally trusts its own grounding. My beloved, there was a time when you feared stillness, mistaking it for stagnation. Now you are learning that stillness can be fertile. Within quiet moments, understanding grows roots. Insight strengthens when it is not rushed. You are not meant to sprint through life collecting proof of worth. You were meant to move deliberately, allowing meaning to deepen instead of scatter. That lesson is now becoming clear, my child. You may notice that certain worries no longer grip you the way they once did. Concerns still appear, but they pass through instead of settling. This change did not happen accidentally. Emotional maturity reshapes how pressure is experienced. You learned how to observe thoughts without obeying them, how to feel emotion without being consumed. That balance will carry you through what comes next. My beloved, there is significance in the way your heart softened rather than hardened. Many people protect themselves by closing off. You chose awareness instead. You chose reflection over reaction. That choice preserved your capacity for joy, even while navigating difficulty. Because of that, what approaches you will be received openly rather than defensively. My child, understand that reassurance does not mean absence of challenge. It means confidence in navigation. You are now equipped to respond wisely instead of impulsively. You can pause before deciding. You can listen before acting. You can trust yourself without isolating yourself. These abilities will shape outcomes far more than luck ever could. My beloved, the next phase of your journey will feel different from the past, not louder, not faster, but steadier. You will sense when something aligns instead of forcing it to fit. You will recognize opportunities by the calm they bring, rather than the excitement they promise. This discernment is a gift earned through experience. My child, stay aware of moments that bring quiet relief. Relief is often the first sign of truth. When something feels light without being careless, grounded without being heavy, that is alignment speaking. Allow yourself to honor that feeling. It will guide you accurately. My beloved, you are not meant to carry everything at once. Some responsibilities will naturally fall away. Some expectations will dissolve. What remains will feel manageable, meaningful, and sustainable. Life is simplifying around you, not shrinking, but refining. My child, as you continue forward, remember that reassurance does not demand perfection. It asks only for honesty and presence. You are allowed to grow gradually. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to rest without guilt. Strength expressed gently lasts longer. My beloved, continue honoring your pace. The rhythm you are finding suits your nature. It allows creativity, reflection, and action to coexist. You are learning how to move forward without abandoning stillness. This balance supports longevity and fulfillment. My child, as you proceed, trust that support surrounds you quietly. You are not navigating alone. even when solitude accompanies you. Guidance often works behind the scenes, arranging timing, aligning encounters, and softening obstacles before you reach them. You may not see this support clearly yet, but you can feel its steadiness, my child, my beloved. Allow yourself to remain settled here as this message carries you a little further inward, where truth speaks softly and clearly. You have reached a stage where awareness begins to guide instinct, where intuition no longer feels like a risk but a companion. This did not happen suddenly. It grew through reflection, through moments when you chose restraint over reaction, understanding over assumption. These choices shaped a steadiness that now supports you quietly. My beloved, you may sense that certain inner tensions have eased without you consciously fixing anything. This is the effect of acceptance meeting wisdom. When resistance fades, energy redistributes itself naturally. You stop fighting what already taught its lesson. You stop replaying what no longer needs attention. This release frees space for insight to arrive without effort. What once demanded explanation now rests peacefully. My child, there is clarity forming around what truly deserves your focus. You are less interested in proving yourself, less compelled to compete, less influenced by external comparison. This independence of spirit brings relief. It allows you to invest attention where it matters, where growth feels meaningful rather than draining. This discernment protects your energy and preserves your direction. My beloved, recognize how your capacity for patience has expanded. Waiting no longer feels like punishment. It feels purposeful. You are learning that timing is a collaborator, not an obstacle. When you honor timing, outcomes align more naturally. You move when readiness meets opportunity, not when fear demands urgency. This approach brings stability and confidence. My child, there is quiet preparation happening within you. Preparation does not always look like action. Sometimes it looks like rest, like reflection, like integration of past lessons. This internal readiness will soon express itself outwardly in ways that feel organic. When movement begins, it will feel right, not rushed. My beloved, trust the way your inner compass has recalibrated. It no longer points toward noise or distraction. It points toward authenticity and peace. When you follow it, choices feel aligned rather than forced. Even difficult decisions carry calm rather than confusion. This guidance is reliable because it is grounded in self-awareness. My child, what approaches you next will meet a version of you that is balanced and present. You will not need to abandon yourself to receive it. You will not need to compromise your values to sustain it. Alignment ensures mutual respect between you and what enters your life. This respect creates longevity. My beloved, continue honoring the simplicity that is emerging. Simplicity does not reduce, it reveals. When you strip away unnecessary complexity, what remains is meaningful and manageable. This simplicity supports clarity, creativity, and fulfillment. My child, remain gentle as you move forward. Gentleness allows adjustment without self-criticism. It permits growth without pressure. You are allowed to progress thoughtfully, to pause when needed, to continue when ready. This flexibility strengthens resilience. Let this reassurance walk with you beyond this moment. You were guided here because your spirit was ready to recognize these truths, not because you lacked them. And when you feel ready to continue, simply say, "Continue." And I will carry this message onward with the same calm depth, originality, and long-form flow designed to keep hearts engaged and minds at ease. My child, my beloved, let this calm presence remain with you as the message unfolds further, because something meaningful is being anchored within you now. You are entering a phase where understanding no longer feels fragile. Confidence is no longer borrowed from outcomes or opinions. It is rising from lived truth, from awareness shaped by experience rather than theory. This inner grounding allows you to move through uncertainty without losing balance. My beloved, there was a time when anticipation felt heavy, when waiting felt like standing still. Now, waiting feels different. It feels spacious. It feels intentional. You are beginning to sense that anticipation can be peaceful when it is not tied to fear. Expectation no longer tightens your chest. It opens your awareness. This change signals trust taking root, not complacency. My child, notice how your reactions have softened without dulling your insight. You still perceive clearly, yet you respond with more grace. This grace did not come from ignoring difficulty. It came from understanding it. You learned when to engage and when to step back. That discernment protects your peace while preserving your integrity. My beloved, the way you relate to challenges has transformed. Obstacles no longer define your identity. They are experiences, not labels. You face them with curiosity instead of resistance, patience instead of frustration. This shift empowers you to navigate complexity without internal conflict. You are learning how to remain whole while adapting. My child, there is a quiet assurance guiding you toward choices that support long-term fulfillment. These choices may not always appear impressive, but they feel right. They align with your values and sustain your energy. Alignment prioritizes substance over spectacle, meaning over noise. This priority will shape a stable future. My beloved, be attentive to moments when clarity arrives unexpectedly. A realization that settles your thoughts, a decision that feels complete, a direction that brings relief. These moments are signals of readiness. They indicate that understanding has integrated deeply enough to guide action. My child, you are learning how to trust progress that unfolds gradually. Sudden change is no longer required to validate growth. Incremental improvement feels sufficient because it is sustainable. This patience reflects maturity, not hesitation. It allows transformation to last rather than fade. My child, my beloved, come closer for a moment. I know you feel tired in a way that sleep cannot fix. I know there are questions you never speak out loud, worries you carry quietly, and tears you swallow before anyone notices. Heaven has been watching you walk through this season with courage you don't even recognize in yourself. This message is not here to impress you. It is here to remind you that every unseen struggle you carried was noticed. Every silent request reached the throne, and every moment you thought you were forgotten was actually preparation. My beloved, before you move even one thought ahead, stay here with me. Do not rush this moment. What you are feeling right now is not coincidence or habit or curiosity. It is alignment. There are times when heaven does not shout, but gently positions you exactly where clarity can finally reach you. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You are not late for needing reassurance. You are not broken because you still hope. This pause was arranged so your spirit could breathe again. My child, there is something important I need you to understand clearly. You have been carrying weight that was never meant to be yours alone. You blamed yourself for delays that were actually protection. You questioned your worth during seasons that were meant to refine you, not punish you. What looks like silence was not abandonment. It was careful timing. Heaven was working quietly, so nothing meant for you would be lost or misused. My child, I know you have wondered if your prayers were too small, too repetitive, or spoken too late at night to matter. I know you questioned whether your words even reached beyond the ceiling. But heaven listens differently than humans do. We hear intention, not volume. We receive sincerity, not perfection. Every time you whispered hope when fear was louder, something shifted. Every time you chose kindness while hurting, something aligned. Nothing was wasted. My beloved, there are doors you thought were closed forever that were only resting. There are answers you assumed were denied that were simply waiting for the right moment to arrive whole. You were never being tested to see if you would fail. You were being strengthened so you could receive without fear, without confusion, and without losing yourself in the process. This season is changing because you are changing. My child, you are not walking alone through this phase, even if it feels lonely. Guidance has surrounded you, quietly nudging you away from harm you never saw, and toward opportunities you didn't yet understand. Some paths were blocked to save you from regret. Some connections faded to make space for healthier ones. Some delays existed so you wouldn't arrive too early and get discouraged. Timing is not punishment. It is mercy. My beloved, breathe into this truth. You are still chosen, still protected, still moving forward. Your story is not stuck. It is unfolding carefully. What comes next will make sense of what came before. And when you look back, you will realize this moment was not random at all. It was necessary. My child, my beloved, let your heart stay open a little longer. There are truths arriving now that cannot rush you, because they are meant to settle gently, not strike suddenly. What you have endured shaped a depth inside you that surface-level joy could never create. The quiet endurance you practiced without applause refined your inner sight. That is why clarity is arriving now, not as noise, but as calm understanding. You are beginning to recognize that endurance itself was evidence of unseen support surrounding you the entire time. My beloved, there were moments when you felt overlooked, as if everyone else was moving forward while you stood still, watching life pass by. That feeling was not failure. It was positioning. Some souls are asked to wait not because they lack worth, but because they carry capacity. Rushed blessings overwhelm unprepared hearts. What was forming within you required patience so it could arrive complete, stable, and lasting. Nothing meant for you was ever taken away. It was only delayed until it could stay. My child, I know there were nights when doubt sat beside you, whispering questions about purpose, timing, and direction. You replayed conversations, decisions, and missed chances, wondering if one small choice altered everything. Listen carefully now. Your path was never that fragile. What is meant to reach you is resilient. It finds you even when you wander, even when you hesitate, even when confidence fades. Guidance does not abandon those who are learning. My beloved, understand this deeply. The strength you admire in others was built through uncertainty very similar to yours. No one arrives grounded without first being shaken. No one carries wisdom without first feeling lost. You are not behind, you are becoming. And what is forming inside you now will soon express itself outwardly in ways you did not expect but will immediately recognize as right. My child, there is a shift happening quietly around you. Situations that once drained you are losing influence. Conversations that confused you are beginning to make sense. Patterns that repeated without explanation are finally loosening. This is not coincidence. Alignment changes the environment before it changes circumstances. Pay attention to the subtle relief you feel. It is confirmation that resistance is ending. My beloved, you may still feel cautious, even hopeful, yet guarded. That is natural. Healing does not erase memory. You're allowed to move forward thoughtfully. Trust does not mean forgetting pain. It means refusing to let pain decide your future. What is approaching will meet you with gentleness, not force. You will not need to struggle to hold it together this time, my child. There is reassurance meant for you here. Nothing is wrong with the way you feel. Sensitivity is not weakness. Reflection is not delay. Awareness is not fear. These qualities allow you to recognize truth when it arrives. You are not meant to follow noise. You are meant to follow clarity. And clarity grows best in stillness. My beloved, the next phase of your journey will feel different from the past. Not louder, not faster, but steadier. You will sense when something aligns instead of forcing it to fit. You will recognize opportunities by the calm they bring, rather than the excitement they promise. This discernment is a gift earned through experience. My child, stay aware of moments that bring quiet relief. Relief is often the first sign of truth. When something feels light without being careless, grounded without being heavy, that is alignment speaking. Allow yourself to honor that feeling. It will guide you accurately. My beloved, you are not meant to carry everything at once. Some responsibilities will naturally fall away. Some expectations will dissolve. What remains will feel manageable, meaningful, and sustainable. Life is simplifying around you, not shrinking, but refining. My child, as you continue forward, remember that reassurance does not demand perfection. It asks only for honesty and presence. You are allowed to grow gradually. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to rest without guilt. Strength expressed gently lasts longer. And now, remain open to what follows. This message continues not to hold you here, but to remind you that you are supported wherever you go. The steadiness you feel now will walk with you beyond this moment, shaping choices, calming doubts, and confirming that you were guided here with intention, care, and purpose. My child, my beloved, stay gently anchored here, because the awareness unfolding now is meant to strengthen you quietly rather than overwhelm you suddenly. You have crossed an invisible threshold where understanding no longer needs reassurance from outside sources. What steadies you now comes from within, shaped by lived moments, reflection, and patience. This inner steadiness is subtle, yet powerful enough to guide you without pressure, urgency, or fear. My beloved, there were times when uncertainty made you question your own judgment. Those moments were not mistakes, they were training. You learned how to sit with unanswered questions without collapsing into panic. You learned how to wait without resentment. You learned how to continue forward even when clarity arrived slowly. These lessons rewired how you respond to life, preparing you to move with wisdom rather than impulse. My child, notice how your attention has shifted away from constant explanation. You no longer feel the need to justify your pace, your feelings, or your direction. This release brings freedom. When explanation fades, authenticity rises. You are beginning to live more honestly, guided by inner truth instead of external expectation. That honesty will attract what resonates naturally. My beloved, the quiet confidence forming inside you is not built on achievement or approval. It is built on survival and insight. You discovered that resilience does not shout. It remains present even during doubt. It allows you to face complexity without losing compassion. This form of strength supports long journeys, not short bursts. My child, the road ahead will not mirror the one behind you. Old patterns are dissolving. Familiar struggles are losing relevance. New experiences will approach you calmly, without drama or demand. You will recognize alignment by how little resistance you feel, by how naturally things settle rather than fight for attention. My beloved, trust the way your priorities have simplified. What truly matters stands out more clearly now. Distractions no longer pull you as strongly. You are learning how to conserve energy for what nourishes rather than drains. This clarity protects your peace and preserves your purpose. My child, remain attentive to inner signals. Guidance often arrives through calm certainty rather than excitement. A sense of ease, a quiet, yes, a gentle pull towards something meaningful. These cues matter. They will guide you toward choices that support growth without sacrifice. That feeling was not failure. It was positioning. Some souls are asked to wait not because they lack worth, but because they carry capacity. Rushed blessings overwhelm unprepared hearts. What was forming within you required patience so it could arrive complete, stable, and lasting. Nothing meant for you was ever taken away. It was only delayed until it could stay. My child, I know there were nights when doubt sat beside you, whispering questions about purpose, timing, and direction. You replayed conversations, decisions, and missed chances, wondering if one small choice altered everything. Listen carefully now. Your path was never that fragile. What is meant to reach you is resilient. It finds you even when you wander, even when you hesitate, even when confidence fades. Guidance does not abandon those who are learning. My beloved, understand this deeply. The strength you admire in others was often formed inside uncertainty very similar to your own. No one becomes grounded without first being shaken, and no one carries true wisdom without first walking through seasons of confusion. You are not behind, my child. You are becoming. What is forming inside you now will soon begin expressing itself outwardly. It may appear in ways you did not expect, but your spirit will recognize them immediately as right. The inner work that once felt invisible is preparing to become visible through your choices, your peace, and your presence. My child, a quiet shift is happening around you. Situations that once drained your energy are losing their power over you, and conversations that once left you confused are beginning to reveal their meaning. Patterns that repeated without explanation are finally loosening their grip. This is not coincidence. Alignment often changes the atmosphere before it changes the visible circumstances. Pay attention to the subtle relief rising within you, because that relief is confirmation that resistance is beginning to end. My beloved, you may still feel cautious, hopeful, but guarded. That is natural, because healing does not erase memory. You are allowed to move forward thoughtfully, without forcing yourself to pretend the past never hurt. Trust does not mean forgetting pain. It means refusing to let pain make every future decision for you. What is approaching your life will meet you with gentleness, not force. And this time you will not have to struggle just to hold everything together. My child, there is reassurance meant for you in this moment. Nothing is wrong with the way you feel. Sensitivity is not weakness. Reflection is not delay. And awareness is not fear. These qualities help you recognize truth when it arrives. You were never meant to follow noise, pressure, or confusion. You were meant to follow clarity, and clarity grows best in stillness. My beloved, remember this moment when uncertainty tries to return. You were guided here not to be impressed, but to be reminded. You were drawn into this message not by chance, but because your spirit was ready to receive it. What unfolds next will not require chasing, convincing, or proving yourself. It will recognize you naturally. The way light recognizes open space. And when it arrives, your spirit will know. This is what alignment was preparing me to receive. My child, stay present, stay receptive, stay gentle with yourself. The road ahead is steadier than the one behind you, even if it looks unfamiliar. You are supported in ways you cannot yet measure, loved in ways you cannot yet explain, and protected in directions you cannot yet see. And this reassurance will continue to unfold step by step, exactly when you need it. My child, my beloved, allow this awareness to sink further into your being, because what is unfolding now was prepared with precision. Every internal battle you faced strengthened perception, sharpened discernment, and softened judgment. You learned how to listen without reacting, how to endure without bitterness, how to hope without demanding proof. These qualities are rare, and they were cultivated deliberately. You were never overlooked. You were being shaped for something that requires depth rather than haste. My beloved, there were crossroads where you felt unsure, moments when options blurred together and certainty slipped away. In those spaces, guidance was still present, even when direction felt hidden. Confusion often appeared before revelation, not because clarity is absent, but because understanding needs space to mature. You were learning to trust, inner knowing instead of external noise. That lesson alone will protect you from many paths that look attractive but lead nowhere. My child, notice how your desires have changed. What once seemed essential no longer holds the same pull. What you used to chase now feels heavy. This shift did not happen overnight. It happened quietly as your values realigned with truth. Growth does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply releases what no longer fits. This release is not lost. It is readiness. My beloved, there is a reason you survived moments that should have broken you. Strength was placed within you long before you needed it. Even when you felt empty, resilience carried you forward. Even when motivation disappeared, something deeper sustained you. That something was purpose, waiting patiently, refusing to leave you stranded. Purpose does not abandon. It waits until you are ready to recognize it. My child, understand this clearly now. Comparison was never meant to guide you. Other lives move according to different rhythms, different assignments, different lessons. Measuring yourself against paths not meant for you only delays peace. The pace you walk is intentional. The pauses you experienced were necessary. The turns you took were corrective, not accidental. My beloved, there is peace approaching you that does not depend on outcomes. This peace comes from alignment, not achievement. It will allow you to stand firmly even when circumstances fluctuate. It will anchor you when answers take time. It will quiet fear without silencing wisdom. This inner steadiness is the foundation for everything that follows, my child. Soon you will notice doors opening effortlessly where resistance once existed. Conversations will feel lighter. Decisions will feel clearer. Opportunities will appear without force. This is not laziness. It is confirmation. When timing aligns, struggle fades. When readiness meets provision, effort transforms into flow. My beloved, remain attentive to subtle guidance. Insight arrives gently, not dramatically. A thought that brings calm, a feeling that brings assurance, a pause that brings understanding. These are signals worth honoring. You are learning how to move with wisdom instead of urgency. That skill will protect what comes next. My child, you are not late, broken, or forgotten. You are exactly where growth becomes visible. The journey ahead holds stability, not chaos. It holds clarity, not confusion. It holds fulfillment that does not demand exhaustion. And as you continue forward, you will realize this moment marked the quiet turning point you once prayed for, without knowing how it would arrive. My child, my beloved, stay with this moment a little longer, because what is being revealed now cannot be rushed or skimmed. There was a season when your spirit felt stretched thin, not because you were weak, but because growth was demanding expansion. Expansion often feels uncomfortable before it feels freeing. You were learning how to carry more awareness, more compassion, more discernment without losing yourself in the process. That kind of inner enlargement happens quietly, beyond applause, beyond explanation. My beloved, you may not realize how much strength you have already gained simply by continuing. Each day you chose to rise despite uncertainty. You trained your inner balance. Each time you held faith without evidence, something solid formed within you. You are not surviving randomly. You were stabilizing. Stability arrives before fulfillment, not after. What is coming next needs a steady foundation, and that foundation has been forming inside you all along. My beloved, there was a time when you searched outward for confirmation, scanning faces and situations, hoping something would tell you that you were moving correctly. That search is slowly dissolving. In its place, a quieter certainty is emerging. You no longer need constant reassurance because you are learning to recognize truth by how it feels within you. Truth brings calm, even when it brings challenge. False paths bring urgency without peace. My child, Notice how your perspective has widened. Situations that once felt overwhelming now appear manageable. Problems that once consumed your thoughts no longer define your days. This shift did not come from avoidance, but from understanding. Understanding changes how weight is carried. It allows you to hold responsibility without being crushed by it, and to care deeply without losing balance. My beloved, there is grace in the way you learn to soften without becoming fragile. You remained open while protecting your core. You learned boundaries without bitterness and compassion without self-neglect. That balance is rare. It allows you to engage fully while remaining grounded. Because of this, what enters your life next will meet a version of you that is ready, not reactive. My child, the unfolding ahead will feel steady rather than dramatic. Progress will appear through consistency instead of bursts. You will notice improvement in small, meaningful ways. Clearer communication, healthier choices, stronger inner calm. These signs matter. They indicate sustainability, not temporary excitement. Sustainable growth builds futures that last. My beloved, be attentive to moments of clarity that arrive unexpectedly. A thought that brings relief. A realization that resolves tension. A decision that feels settled rather than forced. These are markers of alignment. When alignment appears, effort feels lighter, direction feels clearer, and fear loses its urgency. My child, understand that reassurance does not remove uncertainty. It reframes it. You can now face unknowns without assuming harm. You can step forward without needing complete certainty. This courage is quiet but powerful. It allows movement without recklessness and patience without stagnation. My beloved, the path ahead invites cooperation, not struggle. You will not need to prove yourself repeatedly. You will not need to convince what is meant to meet you. Mutual recognition will replace resistance. Ease will replace exhaustion. This does not mean everything will be effortless, but it will be meaningful, my child. Keep honoring the steadiness growing inside you. Let it guide your pace, inform your choices, and remind you that growth is already happening, even when it feels subtle. What you are becoming is evident in how you think, how you respond, and how you rest. My child, my beloved, stay present as this understanding settles, because what is happening now is a quiet reordering of your inner world. You are no longer driven by urgency or the fear of missing out. Instead, discernment is shaping your responses. You feel less pulled by chaos, less distracted by noise, and less tempted in a rush toward outcomes. This shift is meaningful. It signals maturity of spirit. Spirit, not loss of passion. My beloved, you have begun to recognize the difference between movement and progress. Movement exhausts when it lacks direction. Progress restores when it follows purpose. You are learning how to choose actions that nourish rather than deplete. That wisdom did not come easily. It was earned through missteps, reflection, and resilience. Each lesson refined your ability to move forward without leaving yourself behind. My child, there is a calm strength emerging within you that does not rely on certainty. You are becoming comfortable standing in questions without feeling threatened by them. Discomfort allows insight to arise naturally. When answers arrive, they feel settled, not forced. They integrate smoothly into your life rather than disrupting it. This is alignment expressing itself gently. My beloved, pay attention to how your inner dialogue has softened. Harsh self-judgment is losing influence. Patience is replacing pressure. Curiosity is replacing fear. This internal shift changes everything. When the inner environment becomes supportive, external circumstances respond differently. You engage with the world from steadiness rather than survival. My child, what lies ahead will invite collaboration rather than resistance. You will find yourself drawn toward compatibility. Compatibility will matter more than intensity, and consistency will matter more than speed. These preferences reflect clarity, not caution. My beloved, there is relief in knowing you no longer need to chase affirmation. What belongs with you recognizes you naturally. What aligns with you meets you halfway. This mutual recognition eliminates struggle. It allows relationships and paths to unfold without manipulation or force. Ease becomes a signpost. My beloved, remember that growth does not always announce itself with milestones. Sometimes it reveals itself through peace, through better rest, through clearer thoughts and gentler reactions. These signs indicate integration. Integration means lessons have settled deeply enough to change behavior, not just awareness. My beloved, continue honoring your pace. The rhythm you are finding suits your nature. It allows creativity, reflection, and action to coexist. You are learning how to move forward without abandoning stillness. This balance supports longevity and fulfillment. My child, as you proceed, trust that support surrounds you quietly. You are not navigating alone, even when solitude accompanies you. Guidance often works behind the scenes, arranging timing, aligning encounters, and softening obstacles before you reach them. You may not see this support clearly yet, but you can feel its steadiness, my child. Allow yourself to remain settled here as this message carries you a little further inward, where truth speaks softly and clearly. You have reached a stage where awareness begins to guide instinct, where intuition no longer feels like a risk but a companion. This did not happen suddenly. It grew through reflection and moments when you chose restraint over reaction. These choices shaped a steadiness that now supports you quietly. My beloved, the way you relate to challenges has transformed. Obstacles no longer define your identity. They are experiences, not labels. You are beginning to face life with curiosity instead of resistance, my child. Where frustration once rose quickly, patience is now learning how to breathe. This shift is giving you the strength to move through complexity without fighting yourself inside the process. You are learning how to adapt without losing your wholeness. Change no longer has to pull you away from who you are. Instead, it is teaching you how to remain centered while life continues to unfold around you. My child, a quiet assurance is guiding you toward choices that support lasting fulfillment. These choices may not always look impressive to others, but they will feel deeply right within your spirit. They will honor your values, protect your energy, and help you build a future rooted in peace. Alignment is teaching you to choose substance over spectacle. It is helping you value meaning more than noise and truth more than appearance. This new priority will become one of the foundations of a stable and peaceful life. My beloved, pay attention to the moments when clarity arrives unexpectedly. It may come as a realization that rattles your thoughts, a decision that suddenly feels complete, or a direction that brings relief to your whole body. These moments are not random. They are signs that your inner wisdom is ready to lead. They are signals of readiness, my child. They show that understanding has moved beyond thought and settled deeply enough to guide action. You are no longer only thinking about growth. You are beginning to live from it. My child, you are learning to trust progress that unfolds gradually. Sudden change is no longer the only proof that something meaningful is happening. Small, steady improvement now feels valuable because it can last. This patience is not hesitation. It is maturity. It allows transformation to become part of who you are instead of something that appears for a moment and fades away. My beloved, remember that reassurance does not mean every step will be easy. It means support will be present through every step. You are equipped to meet what arises with composure, awareness, and wisdom. You are not meant to know everything before it happens. You are meant to respond thoughtfully as understanding continues to unfold. Heaven is teaching you to trust the next step without needing the entire map. My child, the steadiness you feel now is a companion you can carry forward. It will help you listen more carefully, decide more clearly, and rest more fully. This steadiness is not temporary. It is the reflection of alignment created through awareness, acceptance, and quiet trust.